Shin splints, kind of the what behind them. So it's basically just an abnormal force or an abnormal pull potentially going through that front bone, or call it our tibia. So it tends to be pain in through this area. A lot of things can start to cause that, which we'll get into. For some people, it might be a limited ankle mobility. Others, it might be a limited toe mobility. Hip mobility is really important. Shoe wear is really important. All these things can impact, especially when we start running, how these forces are kind of impacting our body. I found too, even the running stride, the length of our stride is really important. So we'll discuss that as well. If we have a really, really long running stride and our heel is landing out in front of us, they found that that can lead to a little bit more of that bony type pain instead of more of that soft tissue, meaning that muscle ligament. So we'll discuss like how we can give strategies to pull back a little bit if needed and shorten our stride up. Let's start with some soft tissue work. Clinically, whenever I'm working with somebody with shin splints, again, we have to figure out what is going on with that person individually. So these can all look a little bit different, but I picked some of the biggies that I found to be the most successful with kind of the biggest group of people and put them in here, but just know there are other things that can be factors that we might need to get down to. So we're gonna do about a minute of this on each side. I've got the time going. And if you find a spot that feels really sore, hang out there. I would suggest being proactive with this, because once you start to get them, they can be a real pain to try to calm down. Let's go and switch feet. I would try to do this before and definitely after. If you get here a little late and you don't have time to do it before, that's fine, but do it after. But roll out the bottom of your foot and then the calf like we're gonna do next. And I know we do a lot of this stuff anyways in classes, but try to make this a little bit more of a consistent thing when running is programmed in. And then the other thing is cadence. And I wrote this on there as well, and I'll demonstrate this here in a minute, but sometimes playing with your cadence, meaning how quick your stride is. There's not one cadence that works for everybody, but typically like a 160 to a 180 range. And in the clinic, I'll set a metronome and have people play around with different ones and see what feels best. Nobody wants to listen to a metronome when they run. That's terribly boring. When you shorten your stride up a little bit, it helps keep your foot a little bit more under you instead of striking out way in front of your body. So if you have a really long stride, people tend to land here instead of here. So it used to be thought like, oh, a heel strike when you run is bad, it's gonna feed into this. That's not always the case. If you're a heel striker, but your foot's under you, they haven't found that to really be linked to a ton of like those bony stress injuries. It's more when it's in front of you. So for a lot of people, all I have to do is shorten up their stride and their shin splints get a lot better.